Welcome to Starfield Signal, your place for everything Starfield. I'm your friend Luke, and I have a very special guest with us today. I have the modder JJC71, goes by JJ. JJ, thank you so much for joining the Signal crew today to talk about lighting and mods.
Thank you for having me, Luke. It's an honor to be on what is a growing channel, and hopefully you'll go on to great things. I'm sure you will.
I hope so. Thank you. It's very kind of you. And, we have an amazing community here. And I know before we kind of started the interview, you were talking about the modding community just being a really great place as well.
It's an amazing community. I mean, as I mentioned before, I joined in 2009 on the Nexus, and it's been a great experience. The people on there are genuine, and they really are nice people. And if you can be respectful and earn the trust, they will help you no end. They'll help you learn to mod. They'll help you fix your game, fix any problems you have. And I have friends now who I was introduced to over a decade ago now, and they're still good friends. So yeah, it's a wonderful community.
Awesome. And now just a few kind of accolades for you. So as for the Signal crew, as I was kind of researching for this video that I wanted to do, I just went to Nexus Mods and I typed in lighting, and JJ's was the first mod to come up, and that is the Climates of Tamriel Weather, Lighting, and Audio mod. Is that correct? And this has over 11 million with a 11 million downloads as of today. I'm sure you're very proud of that. Now, do you work with a team, or are you kind of a solo guy with a little bit of help here and there?
Modding wise, it's always been solo. A solo venture. About 2014, 2015, modders got together to form their own dev company to work on a game called Wit and Law. It's really tough making your own game, especially when you have to go to work during the day and then do it in part time. So it is a difficult thing to get into. But me, I love to mod on my own in my own time.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand sharing with somebody else.
It's obvious that you're very passionate about it and very good at it with over 11 million downloads, and I'm sure you have some other mods out there as well that have done well. But today we are actually going to be talking about lighting in Starfield.
Yes.
And if you've watched the Direct 1,000 times, the Starfield Direct 1,000 times, like I have, one of the first things they showed off, right? They went into that montage of all the beautiful backlit cinematic landscapes, and you just felt like, oh my gosh, how did Bethesda, right? I mean, because we don't play Bethesda games for the graphics, if we're honest. They've never been like a Rockstar, with like Red Dead 2 level graphics or anything like that. And that's not to say they look bad. They're just a different style. They're a different tone. I talked about that in one of my other videos. But the art direction and the way that they make these worlds feel alive, even without kind of the graphics doing a lot of the heavy lifting like they do in other games, they still create these beautiful places. But I think a lot of people like me were surprised. And so as you, JJ, as you watched that Starfield Direct for the first time or the 20th time, and you saw those beautiful cinematic landscapes with the backlighting and the volumetric fog and all that stuff. What were one of your first thoughts?
My first thought was they've overused God rays too much, but it's cinematic. So I will let them off on that one. But as far as gameplay, I do know it annoys a lot of people when it's overused, the God rays. But cinematically, the worlds look amazing. What they've done. They're also using global illumination now for the first time. Which really shows. It really does show. Everything looks fantastic. So initially, I was really impressed with what they had done. I thought maybe this time they pulled a rabbit out the hat, and they've finally done it. So it's hard to critique a game no one's actually played yet. So I don't really
Of
want to be
course.
critical of them. But
Of
so
course.
far, so good with an asterisks.
That's fair. That's fair. Absolutely. And I'm curious. So this is obviously like a step up from what we've seen so far from their previous games in
Yeah,
Fallout 4 and Skyrim and Fallout 76 and Fallout 3. What you work kind of behind the scenes and under the hood, as I say, like in the code and in the creation engine. And so, what do you think they've done? If you could just take a guess, what do you think they've done in this creation engine 2 to beef it up a little bit to be able to handle all of this extra processing that I imagine is going on for this lighting to look so good?
yeah. Well, obviously they've had a global illumination, which would be like a third-party plugin, which is what they did with God
Okay.
Rays. Um, the big step for them, I think, is obviously having so many planets or what's known as world spaces within the creation engine.
Okay.
And I think this is what they've done. There's usually only ever one world space in games like Fallout 3, New Vegas, which obviously was Obsidian, Skyrim, and
Right.
Fallout 4. And I think what they've managed to do is they've managed to create multiple world spaces. That this is just my guess. And within these world spaces, like Lego, they'll stick things together to form obviously planets because each planet's meant to be unique per player or
Hmm.
per playthrough. So
Right.
whatever they're doing, there's a little bit of magic under the hood that I don't think anyone quite understands just yet. But from my experience using the creation engine, that's what I think they've done. But I'll still
Yeah.
be fascinated to see what they've done.
That's interesting. You talked about world spaces, and I think one of the things that they talk about I can't remember if it's in the direct or a different video, but they talk about how different stars that will be in different stars, their lighting works a little bit different. And I thought that was really interesting from a technical perspective. Is that Do you think that's them just saying, okay, this is an A style lighting and it's going to bloom like this, or it's going to have more direct feel lighting, or is it kind of a more sophisticated algorithm that's going on?
Um, well, knowing Bethesda and how they work with the creation engine, they will have templates. So they will
Hmm.
use
Okay.
templates for various planets. What I'd like to see them do is maybe to bring in that procedural element into the lighting as well, and not just have so
Oh
many
yeah,
stock lighting templates for each planet. Because I think it might get a little bit tiresome after a while. Seeing the same lighting template and the same
yeah.
clouds and things like that. I hope
Right, right.
they've managed to maybe mix it up a bit with the actual lighting. But one of the things that we spoke about was obviously the lighting, the exterior lighting, which would be your dynamic sun
Yes.
lighting, and obviously there's other directional ambient lighting that goes on. Um, and also they've used God rays again really, really heavily, which doesn't worry me because I
Hmm.
know the modern community will tweak that anyway, so that's not a
Sure. You
problem.
could
But
dial that back if you wanted to.
yeah, yeah. So I think they'll take care of that. But overall, they have done a great job. They have done a great job with it. I
That's
just hope that they managed to fix what I think is an issue is with characters and how they look. They look a
yes,
bit
yeah.
rubbery to me, if I'm being
Yeah,
kind.
that's a good way to say it, and I'll put some footage and some screenshots up as we're talking about this in post. But I agree. One of the first things I noticed in the direct was how beautiful the cinematic landscapes look. But then when it kind of got into like the cities and some of the interior shots, like especially in the coffee shop area, I'll
Yeah,
throw a shot there. Um, and then specifically with the NPCs, whenever it's probably like when you're in like the dialogue mode, like think of old Oblivion style, like oh you're in this mode now. It almost looks like either they're using different character models or even an entirely new lighting system. And one shot specifically that comes to mind that looks great in that mode is Sarah Morgan whenever she has like the fireplace behind her. I mean, that looks incredible.
Yeah.
But then contrast that again to just what looks like they're just kind of in, maybe still in a dialogue mode, but maybe in just kind of open world mode. Sam Coe, that NPC, I mean, he has hardly any detail on his face, looks very rubbery and
Yeah.
flat and plastic. The beard looks off. And so I'm not sure if that's the lighting kind of playing tricks on my eyes, or if it's the character model just has lower texture there. What do you think's happening there?
Well, yeah, I mean, Sam Coe is a great example. That one scene where he's looking out and there's no definition in his skin or his face, and his beard just looks like it's being inked on. There's no
Right.
definition there at all. So, yeah, I
I
mean,
think I
what do I
saw
think's going
somebody on
on?
Reddit say it looked like the little like Magna Doodles. Is that right? The
Yeah,
Magna Doodles where you like put
yeah,
on
exactly. Yeah,
their mustache or their beard or their eyebrows.
yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted.
There's no definition there at all, and the the definition shader wise will be coming from the dynamic light, and that's been bleached
Okay,
out.
so that is
Particularly in
connected.
that shot, it's completely bleached out. And again, from my experience using the creation engine, they've gone heavy on the directional ambient lighting.
Okay,
Now that works. You have north, east, southwest, up, down. So it's an additional ambient lighting, other than obviously the directional lighting which come from the sun. And I think what they've
right.
done, they've gone heavy on the directional lighting, which is just bleached out completely the skin
Hmm.
tones. So what you're getting is
Okay.
obviously this effect of no definition and no detail. It
Hmm.
looks almost just like rubber,
Right.
and it doesn't look
Like
very
baby
pleasant, to be
skin.
honest. And I mean, indoors it's a little bit better with the exterior. It's like the interior light is a bit better, but the face textures still look a bit rubbery and a bit plasticky.
Yeah.
And I'm sure modders will overcome that, but at the same time,
Hmm.
I think they could have done a little bit better with the skin textures. It's a little bit more
Right.
realistic looking. And but besides
And
that,
that
yeah,
that actually gives me a little more hope that maybe this is an easy fix, and it may even be updated by the time we get our hands on Starfield. So you think that it's just kind of all this light is it's too much, and so if they dial that back just a little bit for these specific scenes, maybe that could let the texture in the character models that's already there start to kind of shine through, or start to give that contrast and give that shape and texture.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it'll be modders who will fix these things, and it's
Okay.
no surprise to us. We will fix them. And sometimes I think Bethesda they leave things like this, so we'll fix them and get us interested and invested in the game.
That's
No,
fair.
but
Okay.
yeah, it's hard to say until you actually get the game in our hands and see the
Sure.
the final release, because these things might be corrected and fixed in the final release, but they're just concerns at the moment,
Right.
with some of the things that I've seen, particularly around the NPCs. But there's nothing I know can't be fixed. It's a mod. There's nothing's impossible to fix, and
Yeah.
it will be done.
And my next question kind of leans into that a little bit. Whenever you do get your hands on a game, of course, who knows about Creation Engine 2, but we could assume that it will be similar to Creation Engine 1 that you've worked in.
Yeah.
Is it what's that technical process like for you? Is it just to kind of get into the engine, get into the game, and start to kind of move dials around and play with settings? Or do you kind of have a game plan of like, okay, well, I know exactly what I'm going to do when I get in there? What does that look like for you?
I mean, most modders will be rather selfish, so there'll be something in the game they don't like or something they would like to see. And that's usually where most modders will start. So for me personally,
Okay.
it's always been that there's something I've not liked. I remember one time someone said to me, if you don't like it, then why don't you make your own mod? And I did, and I went on to have 11 million downloads.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Seems like a lot of
um,
people agree with you.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, but technically, I don't purposely go out to start modding. It'll have to be something first that'll
Okay.
get me going, because I know once I do find
Mhm.
something to mod, it'll take up a chunk of my time. So technically, I will plan like any project. I'll plan what I
Mhm.
need to do, how long it's going to take, whether it's too big in scope or whether I can do it or not. And it does. It takes a lot of planning to make it work, a real lot of plan to make it work. And I don't think people who download mods and use mods sometimes don't appreciate the amount of effort and time that goes
Yeah.
into what is basically a free product. It's an extension to the game. But yeah, it takes a lot of planning and a lot of time. And a lot of modders
Right.
tend to start and never stop because they overreach in what they want to do. And I think that's the
Sure.
real skill to it is knowing what you're capable of doing and whether you
Mm.
can fulfill it and push it out in the end. So yeah, I mean, I've just learned that now myself with doing more mods. It does take a lot of planning.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. And once you find something that kind of piques your interest, or you find that you're passionate about, and you start designing and you start tweaking and you start changing things, I can't imagine how how complex game development is. Let
Yeah.
alone trying to balance. If you want to change the lighting, well, does that affect? Are you taking memory from something else, or does that take up more processing power? And do you just, as a modder, think, well, PC players are playing this, so they got a bunch of overhead, so I'm not going to worry about that? Or do you find yourself having to be like, okay, well, that's too much. I need to dial that back so more people can enjoy this. How do you kind of go through that balancing process as you're looking into these mods?
Well, it's really important to obviously if you're going to do a big mod, then you tend to really try to read the room. So
Hmm.
you're reading through forums, you see what people if people agree with what you think is wrong or what could be improved. And so that's the initial first step as well. If I'm going to do this, is it going to be appreciated? Is it going to be used?
Right.
Is it going to improve the game, etc.? And then once you fire up the creation engine, then that's it. Then you've opened up Pandora's box, basically, and
Right.
away you go. And yeah, it's like a drug. Once you start, you can't stop. For me personally, once I start, I can't stop. And
Mhm.
after that, it's just iteration after iteration, tweaking. Just new
Right.
things to learn about the engine. Then you'll go ahead and you'll do that. Scripting is another big part of modern. Bethesda use Papyrus scripting, and that often
Mhm.
updates each game title they introduce. So yeah, you often have to learn the scripting as well. It is a really big,
Right.
it's a big commitment to modders. So yeah, don't ever criticize a modder anyone because they put in a lot of hard work to produce those
Yeah.
things that you download and enjoy.
Absolutely. And do you get to do this full time at this point, or do you still kind of have a day job, as they say?
Yeah, I'd love to do it full time, but unfortunately, it's not worked out that way. So at the moment, it's just spare time.
Mhm.
And in my spare time, I will, I do it for the fun of it, nothing more. I've just finished working 16 months on a mod for Fallout 4, which I won't plug
Oh
on this
wow.
channel, because it's rude to do
No.
so. Weathers and Wonders, it's
Uh,
called, it's great.
we'll
Um,
take time for it right at the end. Absolutely.
yeah, so I mean, I've just finished 16 months modding, so
Wow.
someone said to me the day, well, what are you going to do with Starfield? I was like, I'm not even going there right now.
You're just like, I just want to lay down in
I
bed.
just want to play games again because I haven't played a game in 18 months, which was RDR2, last game I played. And
Yeah.
then I thought, right, Fallout 4, here I come. And I thought, I'm just going
Hmm.
to fix the weather a little bit on Fallout 4. And it'll be 2 weeks and I'll
And
be
down the
done.
rabbit hole you went.
And then there we go, 16 months later, and I'm still haven't played a game for a while. So, yeah, I'm going to get Starfield and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to
I
think
love
about
that.
correcting anything. I'm going to wait till the others do it first, and if no one does it, then I'll probably jump in and have a go.
I love it. I love it. That's something that I really want to stay connected with you, like to do kind of some post conversations after the release as well. But I'll probably need some advice from you as well, and some encouragement to not worry so much about content creation and just enjoy the game for what it is. I'm trying to be mindful of that, but I don't yet have a plan as far as like how I'm going to do that. So it's on my mind, but I don't want to go too far down that slope. Well, I want to respect your time. I have just a couple of questions left. One of them is, if you could ask the lead lighting designer for Starfield any question, what would you ask him?
What would I ask them? I have no idea, Luke. What I would ask them.
You ask him for a job?
Yeah, yeah. Can I have a job, please? Because I can do that. I
That's
don't know
funny.
what to ask them, Luke, honestly.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I may have someone from Bethesda on the show, or on the channel after launch, and so if you think of anything, send me a
I will.
DM or a message, and
I will.
I'll
Don't
definitely
worry.
hit them up. Well, I kind of led us through a few different things that I wanted to talk about, just as far as, and I definitely want to plug your mod, and well, let's just do that now. How can people? What's the best way for people to find you and show you some love? Coming here from the channel and just showing you a little appreciation for
Yeah, sure. So
giving us some
the mod will be
insight.
released on Nexus Mods at the end of
Okay.
this month. It's currently with testers who've been testing it, obviously, and it's doing well. No problems with it at all. It's called Weathers and Wonders, and it's a weather and lighting mod for Fallout
Okay.
4. But there's also a lot of special features in the mod, like earthquakes, auroras,
Ooh.
what
Okay.
else? The rainbows, shooting stars, unidentified flying objects, and etc. etc. So it's going to add a ton
Oh,
of
that's so cool.
stuff to Fallout 4, which I hope people will enjoy once it gets released. But once it gets released, I don't want to know about it because I'll be too busy playing
Right.
Starfield. Yeah,
Right. That's the finish line, right? You get it out before Starfield comes.
that's been the plan all along, and I'm panicking now. Yeah, but I will make sure it's out
Oh,
before Starfield. September the 6th is the cutoff date. It'll be out by then. So yeah, hopefully people will go and have a look and check it out.
and that will be a free mod on Nexus Mods
Yeah,
for Fallout
it'll be
4.
exclusive to Nexus Mod, yeah, and of course
Okay.
it'll be free to download as always.
Awesome. If people had the means and they want to show you some financial appreciation, what's the best way to do that? Are there tips on Nexus Mod, or what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we don't ask for money or financial gain or whatever, but there's a donation system on Nexus Mod, so if people want to show
Okay.
their appreciation, be my guest. It always helps having extra coffee, especially when I'll be playing
Of course.
Starfield into the long night.
Yeah. Yes. I'm currently trying to find energy drink companies that will sponsor me. So I'm like, I will need it. Is there anything else you want to talk about as far as lighting or Bethesda games, or anything in your world?
No, I just hope that Starfield is what we expect it to be. Um, because Fallout 76 was not what we expected it to be, but this has come from Bethesda Game Studios themselves. So, we are, the bar is high. We do expect it to be something special, and I am sure it will be. It'll be an amazing game.
If you had to articulate what your expectations are for Starfield, what would you say?
I think it will be a masterpiece, and I think it will be
High
um, a
bar.
once a once in a generation game. And I say that reluctantly because I'm a huge Red Dead Redemption fan. And I think that was a masterpiece too. But I think Starfield might just push them on this one.
I love it. I love it. JJ, thank you so much for your time, for your expertise, for your
Pleasure.
friendship to the channel. And yes, we hope to stay in touch and follow up after launch and see what you may have cooking in the oven, so to
Absolutely.
speak, after, of course, you get a little rest and you enjoy the game with all of us.
Oh, yes, I intend to. Thanks for having me on, Luke. And best of luck with the
Well,
channel.
everyone, absolutely, thank you. Well, everyone who is watching, thank you so much for tuning in for our conversation. I hope that it was insightful and enlightening. Haha, pun. And hope you had a good time. For now, may you find wonder as you journey through the stars.